Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating that's been creating serious buzz in both the Hollywood entertainment industry and among ARMY worldwide. We're talking about the growing interest from major Hollywood directors, producers, and studios in working with Jungkook from BTS, and the types of projects that industry insiders say are being discussed and potentially offered to him. Now, I want to be completely upfront with you guys right from the start. We're not talking about confirmed, signed contracts or official announcements here. What we're discussing is the very real interest from Hollywood, the conversations happening in the industry, the types of projects that sources say Jungkook has been approached about, and why he's become such a hot commodity in Western entertainment. This is based on industry reports, insider accounts, and professional analysis of what's happening behind the scenes in Hollywood. And trust me, even just the level of interest and the caliber of projects being discussed is absolutely mind-blowing. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me what kind of Hollywood project you'd most want to see Jungkook in, and let's explore this incredible story of how Hollywood is actively pursuing one of the biggest global superstars in the world. Alright, so let me start by giving you the context of why Hollywood is so interested in Jungkook specifically, because understanding this will help you see why the types of projects being discussed make so much sense. First and foremost, Jungkook has proven himself as a legitimate global superstar with massive crossover appeal beyond just K-pop fans. His solo work, particularly songs like 7 and 3D, dominated American charts, got massive radio play, and showed that he can succeed in the Western market as a solo artist, not just as part of BTS. Second, Jungkook has an absolutely massive and incredibly engaged global fan base that spans every demographic and every continent. Hollywood studios are always looking for actors who come with a built-in audience, and Jungkook's fanbase is larger and more dedicated than most established Hollywood stars. Third, and this is crucial, Hollywood is actively trying to expand its representation and appeal to global audiences, particularly in Asia, which represents an enormous market. Having someone like Jungkook, who has authentic credibility and massive popularity in both Eastern and Western markets, is incredibly valuable to studios. Now, let's talk about the types of projects that industry insiders and entertainment reporters have indicated are being discussed or offered to Jungkook. I want to emphasize again that we're talking about industry interest and discussions, not confirmed deals, but the level and nature of this interest is fascinating. First, there have been multiple reports about action franchises showing serious interest in Jungkook. This makes perfect sense when you think about it. Jungkook has the physicality, he's in incredible shape, he has martial arts training, he's done intense choreography that proves he can handle complex physical sequences, and he has the charisma and screen presence that action films require. Sources in the industry have mentioned that several major action franchises, the kind with massive budgets and global distribution, have had conversations about Jungkook potentially taking on roles. We're talking about the type of action films that do huge box office numbers internationally and can launch someone into major movie stardom. The specific types of action roles that have reportedly been discussed are really interesting. Industry insiders suggest that there's interest in Jungkook for roles that would capitalize on his youth, his physicality, and his global appeal. Think along the lines of young recruits in elite teams, skilled fighters who are underestimated, or characters who combine physical ability with emotional depth. The key thing Hollywood seems to recognize is that Jungkook isn't just someone who could do action scenes, he's someone who could bring genuine acting ability and emotional resonance to action roles, making them more than just fight sequences and explosions. There have also been suggestions that some projects being discussed would be specifically tailored to work with Jungkook's schedule and BTS commitments, showing that studios are willing to be flexible to work with him. Beyond action films, there have been fascinating reports about interest from the superhero and comic book adaptation space. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Marvel or DC has officially announced Jungkook for anything, because that would be false and irresponsible. But what multiple entertainment industry sources have reported is that there have been conversations and interest from studios working on comic book adaptations about the possibility of Jungkook taking on roles in that space. This has sent fans into overdrive imagining Jungkook as various superheroes or characters, and honestly, when you think about it, he would be incredible in that type of role. He has the physicality, the charisma, the global appeal, and the ability to do his own stunts that superhero films require. The fact that studios in this space are even having these conversations shows how seriously Hollywood is taking Jungkook as a potential film star. There have also been interesting reports about more dramatic or character-driven projects showing interest in Jungkook. This might surprise some people who only think of him in terms of action or spectacle, but industry insiders have mentioned that there's recognition in Hollywood that Jungkook has genuine acting ability and emotional range. His performances in BTS's more narrative music videos and content have apparently caught the attention of directors who work in drama and character-focused films. The types of roles reportedly being discussed in this space include coming-of-age stories, musical dramas that would let him showcase both his acting and his musical talents, and even more serious dramatic pieces. Hollywood apparently recognizes that Jungkook isn't just a performer, he's someone who can convey genuine emotion and connect with audiences on a deeper level. One particularly interesting category of projects that has reportedly generated discussion is the musical film space. This seems like such an obvious fit for Jungkook that it's almost surprising it hasn't happened already. There have been reports of interest from studios and directors working on musical films, whether those are original musicals or adaptations of existing properties. Jungkook can sing at an elite level, he can dance at an elite level, he has stage presence and charisma, and he can act. That combination is incredibly rare and incredibly valuable in the musical film space. Industry sources have suggested that there have been conversations about everything from contemporary musicals to more classic musical theater adaptations. The challenge with musical projects is often that they require someone who can truly do it all, and Jungkook is one of the few people in the world who genuinely has all those skills at the highest level. There have also been fascinating reports about Hollywood's interest in projects that would specifically leverage Jungkook's Korean heritage and global Korean appeal while still being Western productions. We're talking about films that are Hollywood productions with Hollywood budgets and distribution but that tell stories with Korean or Korean American characters and themes. This represents Hollywood's recognition that global audiences, and increasingly American audiences, are interested in diverse stories and perspectives. Several industry reports have mentioned that there's interest in developing projects specifically for Jungkook that would let him play characters that reflect his actual background and identity rather than trying to fit him into roles that ignore his heritage. This is actually a really positive development because it shows Hollywood is moving beyond just wanting Asian stars to play generic roles and is actually interested in telling authentic stories. Now, let's talk about some of the specific directors and producers that entertainment industry sources have mentioned in connection with interest in Jungkook. Again, I'm not saying these are confirmed collaborations, but these are names that have come up in industry reporting and insider accounts. There have been mentions of action directors who have worked on major franchises expressing interest in working with Jungkook. There have been reports of producers who specialize in films aimed at global audiences having conversations about projects for him. There have even been suggestions that some directors known for launching young actors into stardom have expressed interest in Jungkook. The caliber of the people reportedly interested is really significant because these aren't small-time filmmakers or fringe productions. These are established Hollywood professionals with track records of successful films. One aspect of this story that's really interesting is what industry insiders say about Jungkook's approach to these Hollywood opportunities. According to various reports, Jungkook is being very thoughtful and selective about any potential film projects. He's not someone who's just going to jump into Hollywood because the opportunity exists. Sources suggest that he's interested in projects that would be meaningful, that would let him really showcase his abilities, and that wouldn't compromise his commitments to BTS or his artistic integrity. This selective approach apparently makes Hollywood even more interested because it shows that Jungkook takes acting seriously and isn't just looking for a quick cash grab or publicity stunt. Directors and producers apparently respect that he's approaching potential film work with the same dedication and perfectionism that he brings to his music. There have also been interesting discussions in the industry about the practical challenges and logistics of Jungkook potentially taking on Hollywood projects. The biggest challenge, obviously, is his schedule and commitments with BTS. However, industry sources suggest that Hollywood studios have shown willingness to be flexible and work around his schedule. There have been reports of discussions about shorter shooting schedules, projects that could be filmed during specific windows, or even roles that could be adapted to accommodate his availability. The fact that major studios are willing to be this flexible shows just how valuable they consider Jungkook as a potential addition to their projects. Normally, Hollywood doesn't bend over backwards to accommodate actors' schedules like this unless they're established A-list stars, but they're apparently willing to do so for Jungkook. Another fascinating angle to this story is the discussion in Hollywood about Jungkook's potential to open up the Asian market for films. Hollywood studios are intensely focused on international box office, and the Asian market, particularly Korea, China, Japan, and Southeast Asia, represents billions of dollars in potential revenue. Industry analysts have noted that having Jungkook in a film essentially guarantees strong performance in Asian markets because of his massive popularity throughout the region. But beyond just his existing fans, Jungkook's involvement in a film would generate media attention, social media buzz, and general interest throughout Asia that money can't buy. Hollywood recognizes this, and it's a major factor in the level of interest being shown in working with him. There have also been reports about the types of deals and arrangements that might be discussed for Jungkook's potential Hollywood projects. Industry insiders suggest that because of Jungkook's status and leverage, any deals would likely be highly favorable to him. We're talking about things like creative input, approval over how he's portrayed and marketed, potentially even producer credits, and of course significant financial compensation. Hollywood apparently recognizes that they need Jungkook more than he needs Hollywood, especially given how successful he already is in music, and any deals would reflect that reality. This is actually quite unusual because typically when K-pop stars or Asian artists get offered Hollywood roles, they're in a weaker negotiating position, but Jungkook's global success and massive fanbase give him tremendous leverage. Let's also talk about what film industry professionals and casting directors have said publicly about Jungkook's potential as an actor. Multiple casting directors and talent scouts have mentioned in interviews and on social media that Jungkook has the qualities Hollywood looks for in potential film stars. They cite his camera presence, his ability to convey emotion, his physicality, his work ethic, and his global appeal. Several acting coaches and directors have analyzed his performances in BTS content and music videos and have noted that he has natural acting instincts and the ability to inhabit characters. This professional validation from people who know the film industry is really significant because it shows that the interest in Jungkook isn't just about his fame or his fanbase, it's also about genuine recognition of his potential as an actor. There have also been interesting comparisons made in the industry between Jungkook's potential Hollywood trajectory and other successful crossover stars. Some industry analysts have compared him to performers like Rain or Lee Byung-hun who successfully transitioned from Korean entertainment to Hollywood projects. Others have suggested that Jungkook's level of global fame and his fluency in different entertainment forms actually gives him more potential than previous crossover attempts. There's recognition in Hollywood that Jungkook isn't just a K-pop idol trying to break into acting, he's a global superstar with proven success in the Western market who happens to also have acting potential. That's a very different and much more powerful position to be negotiating from. It's also worth noting that the conversation around Jungkook and Hollywood is happening at a time when Hollywood is actively trying to correct its historical underrepresentation and stereotyping of Asian performers. There's recognition in the industry that previous generations of Asian actors were often limited to stereotypical roles or sidekick characters, and there's a genuine effort now to provide more substantial, complex, and leading roles to Asian performers. Jungkook's potential entry into Hollywood is happening at a time when the industry is more ready than ever to give Asian stars the types of roles and opportunities that were historically denied. This timing is significant because it means that the projects being discussed for Jungkook are likely to be meaningful roles rather than tokenistic appearances. Looking at the bigger picture, what all of this represents is a fascinating moment in global entertainment where boundaries between different entertainment industries are becoming more fluid. Jungkook potentially working in Hollywood isn't just about one person's career, it's about the increasing globalization of entertainment and Hollywood's recognition that star power and talent exist all over the world. The level of interest Hollywood is showing in Jungkook reflects a broader shift in how the entertainment industry thinks about international stars and global audiences. It also reflects the massive impact that BTS has had in changing perceptions and breaking down barriers for Asian artists in Western entertainment. What makes this story even more interesting is thinking about what Jungkook's potential success in Hollywood could mean for other K-pop artists and Asian performers. If Jungkook were to take on Hollywood projects and succeed, which seems highly likely given his talents and global appeal, it would undoubtedly open doors for others. Hollywood tends to be risk-averse and often needs proven success before committing to new directions. If Jungkook proves that a K-pop star can successfully transition to Hollywood films and bring both critical respect and commercial success, it would likely lead to more opportunities for other Asian performers. That potential impact beyond just his own career is really significant. It's also fascinating to consider what types of roles would be the best fit for Jungkook if he does pursue Hollywood projects. Based on his strengths and the interest being shown, it seems like action roles with emotional depth, musical films, or character-driven stories that let him showcase both his physical abilities and his acting range would be ideal. The key would be finding projects that let him be authentic and play to his strengths rather than trying to force him into roles that don't fit. Hollywood's apparent recognition that Jungkook brings unique qualities and shouldn't just be slotted into generic roles is encouraging and suggests that any projects he might pursue would be thoughtfully developed. So guys, that's the story of Hollywood's interest in Jungkook and the types of projects that industry sources say are being discussed and potentially offered to him. Whether it's action franchises, superhero films, musical projects, dramatic roles, or stories that specifically leverage his Korean heritage and global appeal, Hollywood is clearly very interested in working with Jungkook. The caliber of the interest, the flexibility studios are willing to show, and the types of meaningful roles being discussed all point to Hollywood recognizing Jungkook as a legitimate potential film star, not just a celebrity making a cameo. While we don't have confirmed projects announced yet, the level of behind-the-scenes interest and conversation is absolutely real and incredibly exciting. What do you think about the possibility of Jungkook in Hollywood films? What type of role would you most want to see him in? Do you think he should pursue acting alongside his music career? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's interest in Jungkook, please give this video a huge thumbs up, share it with everyone who's excited about the possibility of seeing Jungkook on the big screen, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.